Hello everyone. In today's video I am going to discuss the basics of bow making utilizing leftover scrap or regular wrapping paper. It is the holiday season and some of the expenses that do come into play during the holidays obviously is wrapping paper and things like bows. You always like your gifts to look nice, and adding a bow does add that little special touch to your gift to make your, gift receiver obviously feel much more happier. Now, if you do happen to present your gifts without bows, that's fine and wonderful. But if you do want to take that little extra step to add a little pep, I'm going to show you how I am going to make bows for my gifts. Now, this is actually the first bow that I did happen to make out of this wrapping paper. I've done one other bow, and I can tell you practice makes perfect, so I plan on going ahead and practicing until I perfect making bows. But for now, this is what my bows look like. And keep in mind, it didn't cost me anything but my time. And I'm going to show you how you can go about doing similar things like this. Now, you must have on hand tape. Okay, it doesn't have to be a tape dispenser like this, but it does help because it does have a weight to it. It's heavy. Also, some of the other things you may need, maybe a roller. That's what I'm going to be utilizing to take that extra step to make sure it's perfect and right. A pair of sharp scissors, and also wrapping paper. Now, this is a really big piece of wrapping paper, as you can see. Okay, so what I am going to do is I'm going to try and make a somewhat perfect bow. So I am going to start by cutting up long pieces of wrapping paper. Now with this bow, I can see some of the mistakes that I've made. Obviously you see in the center, it pretty much is perfected, but it's not tight. Again, I haven't grasped the whole tight bow yet. And as you can see around the center edges, there are points, bigger points, okay? If you go ahead and you look back, you can go ahead and see that in addition to the center, I do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 particular points. Now with a bow like this, I think the best bet would be to have 8 points altogether. So not 10 like I did go ahead and choose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut bigger pieces for the outside edges, and then I will be going ahead and cutting smaller pieces for the inner edges, and then I'll go from there. Now with the measurements that I am going to utilize, I'm going to pick a bigger size. So what I'll do is I'll determine how big I want my bow. With my bow, I'm probably going to choose, what's a good size? I'll say I'm going to choose measurements of, say, 6 inches. And for the inner parts of my bow, I'm going to choose measurements of 4 inches. And I'm going to see what it looks like. So what I do is I have out my roller and I'm going to measure up 6 inches. And remember, I want to have 4 points that way. So this big piece, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to split in half. Now this piece measures approximately 9 inches. So I'm going to cut it in half at about the 4.5 inch mark, according to my ruler. Okay, it's not perfect, it's just approximate. So I've made a cut down the center, and I'm going to measure up the 4 inches that I talked about. So 4 inches over, and I might go a little bit bigger, but for that I've chosen 4 inches. So this is about 4 inches by 4 inches, It's actually about 4.5 by 4, but you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, now I'm gonna go about 6 inches up. So I'm gonna make a slice here. Keep in mind, practice makes perfect. So this is my bigger piece, and this is my smaller piece. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut them into 4s, so sections of 4. And I wanna be approximately even, so I'm gonna go up, up, and then up. So now I have approximately 4 big sections, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now I have 4 small. So now all together, as everyone can see now, I have a paper mask. Yay! I'm kidding. Now I have sections. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold these inward like so. Now, there's 2 ways that I can make my bow. I can make it a more colorful bow by using all colorful parts, or I can go ahead and I can make a white one like that. Now, it does end up looking better. As you can see, it's my practice one of my first ever with this wrapping paper. You know, it does look better. You don't really see the white so much. The blue pops, as you can see. Okay, so that's what I'm going to try and do. So I'm taking my bigger pieces, and I can lay them all out in front of me. Okay, and I'm going to start folding my bigger pieces. So with my bigger pieces, I'm going to make a fold like this. Okay, and I'm going to take my tape, and I want to make this one a tight one, so I'm going to take my tape, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tape it like so. Okay, I've made a point, and then I'm going to go ahead and make another point. I want to do this for all 8 sizes that I have. So as you can see, I have 1 point there. I'll show you again what I did. And if they're not tight right away, I mean, who cares? You're practicing, you know.